And so a big thank you to the Global Entrepreneurship and Leadership Academy. If you've been a part of that, thank you for representing, thank you for adding value, and thank you for making a difference. So I know a lot has been said regarding my bio, so I just touched on a couple more things real quick. I currently lead the internal operations QCQA within an organization that is based in Washington, D.C. And it's been a really eye-opening experience as we'll get to talk about some of these things when we talk about creativity under pressure, how we can unlock some creative problem-solving strategies so that we don't see pressure as a bad thing. We don't see pressure as a way out, but we see it as a gift. I've also had the opportunity to stay in Ghana the earlier parts of my years. I actually attended the Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, which is not far from the University of Ghana. I was there from 2002 to 2005, and I currently actually serve as our North America chapter president. So I lead our alumni organization between US, Canada, and Mexico. As far as as far as being here today, I wanted to make sure that we take away three key things, and we'll talk about those three key things. But with the Bridge Leadership Room, we're really an organization that is raising the next generation of leaders. We're looking to equip and we're looking to prepare potential and current leaders with resources that would make them ready for tomorrow's opportunities. All right, so if you're on this call or you know somebody that could benefit from that, maybe we can connect after this. And I think I'll put something on the chat so that if anybody wants to reach out, you can reach out directly as well, or you can connect on our website. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen if you do not mind, so we can jump into this content, because today we're talking about innovation under pressure. I'm very sure that when we talk about innovation, if we were to be in some kind of group setting, one of the things that we're going to hear is probably technology, or it's probably, new invention. It's always got to do with something new, right? But, today, perhaps innovation may not just be about just what is new, but also how we think, right? Because innovation doesn't just start with the tool. Innovation actually starts with the mind. All right, but today we're going to look at a couple of things real quick. Let me make sure that I make my screen absolutely bigger so that everybody can see what we got going on. All right. So let's talk about what the last 4 years have taught us. All right, the first thing I want to highlight is that the world is not going back to how things were. When COVID hit, in fact, let me take it to before COVID hit. I saw people putting up 10-year goals, 10-year plans. I saw all of that on social media. This was like 2019, and it looked like 2020 was going to be this magical year where everybody is going to go into something great and new and awesome. And some of us are students, so we can probably relate to this in the way you start university and you're thinking, man, the possibilities are endless, and then you hit a snag, right? Or then something happens. Then the question is, wait, is the dream still valid? Is what I wanted to do still possible? Now, here's what I learned over the last 4 years with the whole pandemic and all the challenges that came with it. See, there were some people that became obsolete because they accepted their reality. They accepted the reality of the circumstances that surrounded their goals, right? And so they were not open to change, right? So I had seen businesses that closed out because they still wanted to use unconventional ways of doing things. I've seen people that have gone from, having millions to literally losing almost everything because they refused to pay attention to what was happening and where things were going. I've seen companies that refuse to go and adapt and be agile so that they can actually compete effectively in the spaces which they have been competing. And because of that, they were losing market share. I've also seen entrepreneurs who have unfortunately closed out on their dreams because they felt that, you know what, this is the reason why I can't move on anymore. Let me find something else. Now, I want to take this opportunity to let us know that the world is never going to go back to how things were, right? And it can be a great thing depending on how we look at it. All right, number two, AI is here to stay. Now, I know AI, when it was first introduced, I'm sure you heard a lot about it. Maybe you're sitting in school and you're wondering, what's going to happen to me from a career standpoint? What's really going to happen? I mean, am I going to get a job after this? It looks like AI has been implemented in a lot of organizations. They're using it to actually cut down some areas of human effort. They're using it, they're leveraging it in a way that they can get work done effectively. So now, what does that mean for me? I need to understand how AI is playing a role in the space of business, in the space of industries, in the spaces that I'm interested in. And I need to ask myself some different questions because it's not going to go away, right? It's always this thought of, if only this goes away, then I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. If only this can be taken out of the way, then it's going to give me an opportunity to stand out. But what if it doesn't go away? What if you actually took a step and said, this is here to stay, and so then what? All right. And we'll get to some other, thoughts there in a little bit. So the last one is resources have become scarce. So flexibility has become a necessity. I can tell you right now, I remember I was with an organization when COVID hit. And man, I've been with this organization for almost 9 years. And I was pretty much very well known from the CEO to, the person on the front lines. I was one of the well-known people in the organization. And I got a surprise phone call that I was being laid off. Man, that hit me really, really hard because I thought to myself, man, I've been very loyal to this organization. I put my best. That was the first job I got when I left grad school. And almost everything about my life was lined up around that organization because I was going to be there forever. And that reality hit me that I wasn't going to be there forever because when changes happen, organizations, people, entities are going to make decisions based on resource availability, right? And when they're making those decisions, the question becomes, who has the flexibility to adapt in the areas that we're trying to go? See, so that you're not taking things personal, right? Because the question is, how are you adding to your flexibility so that when they are talking about people in a room that you're not, your name is mentioned? Because the flexibility means I'm not only focused on a tunnel vision in just one area of my life or only one thing that I'm good at, because that thing can go away. I'm also constantly asking myself, what are the areas that I can add value? What are the areas that I can do some things differently? Okay. So these are things that I want us to kind of keep at the heart of who we are. If you are an entrepreneur, if you're an aspiring leader, you got to recognize, that these things are not going to change, right? Because that is pretty much what we would call the new normal. Okay. So now let's move on here and let's talk about the three areas as I mentioned earlier on. All right. Why pressure is a gift, how to leverage creative problem solving in an increasingly competitive landscape, and how to come out of the people power, right? And I titled this What Negotiation Isn't, because a lot of times we're negotiating. We're negotiating every day. We're negotiating with ourselves. Some of us, maybe when you were coming to this conference, man, what am I going to weigh? Do I put on this or do I put on that? Maybe you were wondering, where else can I be today? Maybe I could show up to a friend's place to watch a soccer game, or I can be here and invest in myself. So negotiation is a part of life, right? And so what it isn't is what we're going to look at. Because a lot of times you look at negotiation only from a standpoint of, what am I going to get out of it? How am I going to win in this? And negotiation is not about a win. It's about being satisfied with the outcome based on understanding what you have to deal with on your plate. Okay, it's not who won and who lost. It's not who's better and who's not. So this is not a comparison thing. This is really more of a self-introspection that I want you to take today, right? This is not like, oh, this was good. This is a good thing. I want you to be processing and asking yourself, what kind of things am I hearing that apply to me? What are the areas that I can better leverage so that I can continue to grow in this space? Or what do I need to do differently so I can get different outcomes? All right, so we're going to look at these three areas: why pressure is a gift, how to leverage creative problem solving in an increasingly competitive landscape, and how to come out of the people power. So why is pressure a gift? The first thing is it forces us to ask the hard questions. Sometimes problems causes you to stop. The problem is that when you see symptoms of something and you keep going, it can develop into something bigger. I know Dr. Faber may be on the call, so he can attest to that. Being a doctor, let's say we all went to the hospital and something is wrong, but you didn't give the doctor, the full description of what was bothering you. At some point, that thing can grow to become something that it shouldn't. Whereas if they knew what was bothering you, they'll be able to make adjustments. The same thing in life. When you feel that you're under pressure, maybe the economy is hard. We feel like leaders have failed us. We feel like there are no jobs. Like you're probably on this call and you're wondering, like, when I get out of school, where is the jobs? You're hearing people leaving the country and you're thinking, man, how am I also going to do that? Right? It's all what I would call the noise around us, right? And we're all in this noise. So it's either we drown in it or we rise above it. But in order to be able to distinguish yourself, you need to ask yourself the hard questions. Number one, what is important now? I call this, in other words, what's the win? There's so many things. Let's say, things aren't working for you anymore. You don't have the resources to be able to start your business, or you feel like, you've tried microfinancing and nobody's supporting you. But then the question really is, what is important now? I know I have this big dream, but what is important now? I can't say because I don't have what it takes, I'm just going to stall. Maybe I need to take a step back and say, well, right now, what is important is for me to take an honest assessment of my skill set, of my strengths, what makes me stand out. Or maybe what's important now is to study the industry I'm in and understand where they are and where it could go. Or maybe what's important now is to make some decisions where I have to change certain approaches to how I'm doing work so that I don't end up producing the same results. I'm going to use myself as a personal example. There was a time where I worked for one organization. It wasn't Cisco, it was the one before Cisco. And basically, every Friday, every Friday, they had a community session. This time, Tableau was like a new thing. Tableau, for those of us may not know, it's a data visualization tool. So Tableau was like a new big thing. It was so exciting. Companies started to adapt to it. And so this organization said, we're creating a space for anybody who wants to learn Tableau. So every Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., you can just join the community. You can learn, you can ask any questions. Well, guess what I was doing? Every Friday, I used that time to go to the gym. I wanted to work out. I wanted to look great for myself. I was more excited about working out than investing in myself. Now, I'm going somewhere with this, so stay with me. Because we're talking about what's important now. See, at that time, what was important to me was working out and looking great for myself. But what I didn't realize should have been important for me then was to invest. Because guess what? When COVID hit and I started looking for a new job because 1,500 people were laid off, and I was in an industry where we were losing profits by 30 million week by week. So now I found myself in a situation where it's like, what am I going to do next? Well, guess what? Almost every job that I applied to, the question was, hey, do you know how to use Tableau? Imagine how I felt, because I didn't take that time to invest in what was important then, because that would have set me up for greater opportunities at the time. And not only that, now guess what? I eventually landed a job with Cisco, but now I had to go learn Tableau. But not only did I have to go learn it, I had to pay for it, right? I was getting that opportunity for free. I didn't take it. And because I chose different things that were important then, I had to now make up with a cost. There's a cost associated to every decision. Write that down. There's a cost associated to every decision. That is how you can take better inventory of what's important now. All right, number two, what is my current situation? This is so important because you see, sometimes we first listen to what everybody else is doing before listening to ourselves. And this is where you can easily be misled, especially with social media. You know, there's so many things that are happening around us, to me, which are noise. There's so many opinions, there's so many resources, and sometimes we're drowning in them. We haven't taken the time to say, what truly is my current situation? You know, do I have a dream that I'm yet to even put on paper? You know, do I have a business that I haven't even drawn a business plan for? You know, do I have a goal, but I have not been able to, you know, actualize it in a manner that is digestible, where I can actually work on it? You know, what is your current situation? You know, so that you're not buying into every narrative you hear from around you. Oh, you know, things are hard. You know, government is this. You know, there is no money. Yes, those are realities, but what is your current situation? Because in your current situation, now catch this though, it's not about looking at what's wrong with you. It's also understanding what could go right for you. Okay, it's understanding that some things can be different if you apply yourself differently. But what is your current situation? What are the things in your toolbox right now? All right. And then number three, what are my options? This is an important question because I'm not going to be able to answer this question well if I have not taken time to assess what my current situation is. Right? And by assessing your current situation, guys, I want to challenge everybody to think. Critical thinking is huge. I'm good friends with the CEO of Telecel, well, previously Vodafone, Mrs. Patricia Obonai. You know, and I remember coming to Ghana one time, went to her office and we're having a chat. And this is what she told me. She said, you know, I've actually had a challenge with the interns that we bring in. They know how to tell you the definitions and the advantages and the disadvantages, but when I give them real life problems and scenarios, they can't solve them. You know why? It's because we're very accustomed to what we will call theoretical learning, right? But it takes somebody who's being intentional to apply what they're learning in different scenarios, because the real world is all about application. It really is. Nobody cares how much we know. Nobody cares how much we think until we can show that in the type of results that they're looking for, right? Companies, institutions, organizations, dreams need results. Results is the fruit of the actions that were a necessity to get you to your dreams, right? And so it's so important that we recognize that we need to, one, ask what is important now, two, understand the current situation, and three, know what your options are. I saw in the group chat, maybe there was a debate about probably, you know, those who believe employment is better than entrepreneurship, taking a stand. They all have its strengths and weaknesses, but know what your options are. Yo, don't say I'm going to start a business because I saw other people also starting businesses. Is that your strength right now? When you assess your current situation, is that something you know you're capable of doing right now? Or could you work under somebody for a bit, learn the ropes, and based on that, be able to know the key things that you need to put in your business when you stand alone? All right, these are decisions we have to make. Now, second thing, pressure is a gift because it creates a pathway for potential growth. Now, 573 people became billionaires during COVID. I want you to think about that for a second. This was the same time that you and I were afraid of dying. You know, who could be next? And I mean, let's face it, it's not a joke because some of us may have lost loved ones, right? And the fear and the panic and the face mask and so many vaccines. Well, guess what? People were getting richer because people saw opportunities for growth in their problems. You see, great leaders are able to understand that every problem is an opportunity in disguise. So they don't just accept the problem for what it is, they ask the real hard questions, right? How come 573 people become billionaires in the same time that we're struggling? And mind you, it wasn't like they became billionaires because they had this big business. Some of them were, a lot of it came from stocks and investments, right? People that were reading, understanding markets, understanding who was growing. Now, let me give you another scenario here. Guess what? Those who were positioned before COVID, that understood what we call an inflection point, meaning they have the ability to see around the corner. They thrived in COVID. Take Zoom as an example. Imagine building Zoom in 2005. Nobody cares. 2008, 2010, okay. But guess what? Now we have to stay home. There's a mandate to stay home, and the world says, well, but we still need connection. Right now I'm sitting here in the United States, somebody's in Nigeria, somebody's in Ghana, and we're connected because somebody took the time and said, you know what? Something has to be done about this. I'll give you another example about. We all know Uber. Uber is, probably in Nigeria, so I know it's in Ghana. You know how Uber started? It was two friends in France that needed a ride on a cold winter. And they just were so frustrated that they said, man, what if we just came up with an idea where, we just paid for somebody to just pull up with a ride to get us where we needed to go? That's how Uber started. I had a good friend from Zimbabwe who attended Oxford University, and we were working out at the gym. This is about 6 years ago. Working out at the gym, and I'm talking about all these things I'm doing. And he said, you know what? You're wasting your time. And I said, why? He said, all I'm hearing you talk about is how, well, you don't have the money to start. Yeah, you need the money first. He said, no, you don't need the money. You need a compelling, strong, unwavering idea. An idea that is so strong that people that have the money would say, how can I put my money behind you? See, so that means that anything that is going to come from a creative problem solver is starting with the way they think. Right? It's starting with the way you look at the situation. Okay. Number 3, break away from conventional ways of thinking. It's so important. When you surround yourself with people that are always saying, this is how we did it. It's always been that way. And catch this, guys. If you find yourself in a room, where you're the smartest person, you're in the wrong room. If you're always the person that people come to and it just makes you feel better, you're in the wrong room. You need to be in a room where you're competitively making sure that there are people that are smarter than you. You know why? Because it's going to keep you on your toes. You're going to learn from them. The leaders I surround myself with are some leaders that actually get paid $20,000 an hour to teach things in different places and organizations. And this is all I have to do. Just be grateful that I'm in the room. Because when I'm in the room, I'm listening to what's important to them. I'm looking at the type of books that they're reading in the season because it tells me what their mind is processing. I'm trying to see the type of problems they're trying to solve because it helps me to recognize the kind of things that they see coming and how they're preparing for it. Right? So I can't be fixated in an environment that is just doing things one way for the longest time and expect to succeed because the world is not one way. All right. Now, moving on. Now, how to leverage creative problem solving in a competitive landscape. The first thing I want to talk about is embrace uncertainty. Uncertainty can make us feel nervous. Uncertainty gets us out of our comfort zone. And usually any type of living thing that is taken out of its comfort zone feels threatened. There's a potential to feel like, you know what? Wow, there's now a new competition to what I'm doing. I started this idea, but then now there are all these people that are trying to do the same thing, and you're not sure what's going to happen. And because of that, maybe you decided to stall. You decided not to continue again. As you see, it's not about the uncertainty. It's about the value that you bring. It's about how you can step into those spaces and say, you know what, I don't have all the answers, but at least I'm looking for the answer that I need now for the next step. All right. Number two, understand the climate of your business and industry and its direction. Guys, this is so important. There are many people that are blindsided because they don't understand the spaces that they're trying to serve in. You can have a great idea, but if you put it in the wrong space, it's not going to thrive. Right? So you need to make sure that you understand the industry. You take time. I have a friend who's actually applying for a $10 million grant and sends me a business plan, business idea, and everything. And she's so fixated on, I can't lose this money. I need this money. I can't make a mistake. And I'm like, listen, all those things are just signs of you feeling the pressure, right? Yes, you're going to feel the pressure, but you need to understand what business and industry you're playing in. Do you know who the key players are right now? What are they doing differently that I could learn from? What are their strengths? And based on their strengths, do I have different strengths that can set me apart from theirs? Right? Because that is what is going to make you relevant. I'll come back to my friend who's the CEO of Telecel. This is what she told me. I remember I was interested in starting a business venture in Ghana. And she said, you know what? Look for a social problem to solve. Okay? Look for some way that you can add value. Just take time, study people, study what it is that is important to them. What do they need for their everyday living? What is it about life that can change the course of their trajectory if they have what you have? Right? That is how you start to create value. Number two, encourage experimentation. This is something that is so important. Successful organizations, successful entrepreneurs will tell you they failed and they failed a lot. Failure is an event, it's not a person. It's not an end. In fact, failure is going to teach you more because you learn what to do differently next time. So you need to create environments and a culture that encourages experimentation so that even if you did not get it, at least the reward is not, well, I'm rewarding you only if you got it. No, I'm rewarding you because you gave it everything you got and you learned the lessons from it, which the next time you're able to implement something else, you can apply and use it differently. This is how organizations like Apple, organizations like Dell, Google, organizations like Microsoft, this is how they've always thrived. That's the secret sauce, guys. They have an R&D department that is always experimenting. And the experimentation is based on what they're seeing within their industry, their market segmentation, their potential target audience. Who are we trying to reach? What is important to them? How have their preferences changed? What is it that is beginning to show full potential? 100%. You know, you can't sit back and say, you know what, I don't have what it takes to be successful when you haven't actually dug the well within yourself. Right? What do you have? What makes you different? If I was hiring somebody for a job right now, I'm always curious about that. What makes you different? What makes you stand out? Why should you be the person in the seat? Because catch this, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Write that down. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. You know why? Because the passion behind what you're doing will cause you to embrace the challenges, embrace the uncertainties. This last one I want to talk about is huge. Get a mentor. Guys, there are many young Gen Zs and millennials and folks that just trying to make it out there like, yeah, I got what it takes, no direction. And here's the thing. The beauty of mentorship is that you're connected to somebody who's been where you're trying to go. If you haven't been there, how do you know you're getting there? Right? You want to make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who have been where you're trying to go. And I'll tell you what, getting a great mentor is hard because true mentors won't let you waste their time. True won't let you just, oh yeah, I want you to mentor me. Okay, great. It never works that way. Let me tell you the secret to finding a great mentor. When you see that person, find a way to serve them. I'm telling you, man. When you find that person, find a way to serve them. What do I mean by that? Ask them how you can add value to what they're doing. Or is there anything you need help with? Is there anything I can assist you with? You know why? Because at some point, when they're going to some places, they'll start bringing you along. Oh yeah, that's my prodigy right here. I need you to help me with it. And the next thing you know, you're going into rooms that you couldn't get to by. You're meeting people that you couldn't have met by yourself. You're connecting with people that are opening doors for you that you couldn't have opened by yourself. Guys, mentorship is important. About 40% of successful professionals around the world have attributed their success to having a mentor in their life. You can be one of them. So whether it's your business, whether it's an entrepreneurship idea, whether it's you wanting to get into a simple position, whatever that looks like, get you a solid mentor. This is a question that I want you to put down. If you can even put this next to your bed, put it down. Because this is the last segment that I want to talk about, how to get out of the people power. This question was asked by a very intelligent man called John Asher. See, he was always trying to dabble in everything. When people hear, oh yeah, this is the latest thing, or everybody's going commitment. So it's important that you ask yourself that right now, in that business venture, in that organization I've started, in that job that I'm in right now, am I interested? Because if I'm interested, I'm probably just doing the bare minimum. Or am I committed? Because if I'm committed, I'm doing what it takes to take me to the next trajectory or the next level. But let's look at this phenomenon from John Maxwell. I had an opportunity to meet John Maxwell, the leadership guru, earlier on this year. And these were some words of wisdom that he shared with us. All right. The first one, as you can see on the far right, it says, how do you get out of the people power? Is separate yourself. See, you can't be like everybody. I talked about it earlier on. What makes you different? What makes you stand out? Number two, ask yourself, what do I have to do that no one else is doing? Guys, this is the biggest thing. Look, those who are enjoying the fruits of success right now are people that stepped into blue oceans, that stepped into spaces that people had not at the time and made their mark before everybody got there. One of my mentors always says this. He says, just watch a hockey game. When you watch a hockey game, an ice hockey game, you notice that the guys are not going to where the little, we call it a puck, that little ball thing that they just hitting around. They're not going to where the puck is. They're moving to where they're anticipating the puck is going to go. That's how they play hockey, right? So in a sense, if you find yourself in a situation, ask yourself, am I moving ahead or am I just playing catch up all the time? Right? It's a question for you to answer. Number three, ask yourself, what do I have to be that no one else is being? Guys, if you're in college, let me give you a free tip. Man, this sometimes actually bumped my grade from a B to an A. No, seriously, real talk. At the end of every semester, I would actually just go and buy a simple card, just a card, and I'll write a thank you message to my professors. I'll say, thank you so much for investing in us. It's not like you may need this, but I'm so grateful that I got to learn from your class. I had professors that had been teaching for over 20 years that would respond back to me and say, I'm so, so grateful. In my 20 plus years, nobody has ever sent this to me. See, it's not always about money, guys. It's how you think. That is why the mind is a powerful asset, right? Because everybody else is done with the class. They're moving on. They're going home. They're waiting for the next one. We're moving to level 200, level 300, or however they call the levels, right? But can you take a moment to do some things differently? Because guess what? Here's where the true dividends are. When I was looking for a job, those people either try to connect me with somebody or wrote a letter of recommendation for me. So this is why this is important. Number 4, find people before you can lead people. Your leadership is not a title. If you found yourself in a position where people are doing things because you told them to, you're not leading. They're only following you because of your title. But when we say find people, write this down. This is a leadership axiom. Write it down. Heart before hand. You have to win people's heart before you ask for their hand. When you've won people's hearts, they've even forgotten your title, man. They've forgotten what you do. They care about who you are. And if you've won people's hearts, they will go above and beyond for you. So make sure you're investing in people. If you're an entrepreneur and you have people working with you, invest in them. If you're a leader and you've been surrounded by people you're supposed to lead, invest in them. Be intentional about building relationships so you can better lead them. Number 5, assumptions are the mother of all mess ups. Man, never assume things about others. This is so important. If you want to get out of the people pile, because it's thousands and thousands. I went to Zambia. They churn out over 400,000 graduates every year. And the economy can only provide employment to about 8% or less. So we're talking about what you have to do to stand out because you're being creative in pressure moments, in critical moments, in situations that look like resources are scarce. You cannot be living in assumptions. And many of us do. There's so many things we've assumed that aren't even true. Things are hard. Nobody will help you. These days, if you don't know somebody, and because of that, we've accepted rattle something from your mind, right? You can't just say, well, okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. You should have prepared because now it builds what we call investor confidence. Or this person knows what they're about. And maybe that investor knows somebody else and they want to come along. And that's how you can grow your base, right? Preparation and action. You prepare and you act. Number 7, this is huge. Stay curious and ask questions. Ask questions. Great leaders ask questions. They don't want answers. They want questions. You know why? Because questions will challenge the assumptions that exist, right? And then quit looking for answers. Questions allow you to go far and deep. It does. To the left of this is where you see is there a finish line. Most people have self-imposed finish lines. When you cross the finish line, you're done. When I'm done with this, when I get to this age, then I'm done. Instead of asking, when will I get there? We need to start asking, how far can I go? Right? So that you stop being the roadblock to your own self. You stop being the impediment to yourself. Because many people have become an impediment to themselves. And I'm going to leave you with a couple of things here real quick, and then we're done. Top 10 skills in demand for 2024 and beyond. This is from actually the recent Chief Economic Opportunity Officer at LinkedIn. Okay. And guess what? These are the top 10 things. So those who are probably like, man, AI is now in place. I don't know if there's anything for me. AI can't do these things. They can't, because these are skills that are inherently in humans. AI can lead you. AI can become a great customer service person. AI can give you the best communication, because AI actually has to be trained by you. In case you don't know, it's how you keep asking, what you keep asking it is going to mimic how you want it to be. Analytics, teamwork, sales, problem solving, research, and management. This is from LinkedIn, the largest professional network in the world. These are the top 10 skills that companies are looking for, and this is going to be in demand and beyond. The question is, can you see yourself in any of these 10? I want you to think about that. See what he says to the top left? People skills are going to come more to the center of individual career growth. So especially, I'm talking to my Gen Zs who are very technologically savvy and driven, but people skills deficient. I work with Gen Zs. I would say, I'd rather you text me. If you call me, it feels like something is wrong. Your people skills are a little challenging. We'd rather just be in this ecosystem or trying to communicate with people where technology has gotten in the way. But I tell you, resources to build the necessary skill set. Networking events. Don't sit at home. There are industry events. Maybe you're interested, you're an entrepreneur and you're interested in the financial sector. Maybe there's some finance conferences, events, workshops. Show up. Virtual chat rooms, professional mixes. Dress up. Show up. There was one time when I was in college, I'll never forget this. So I was actually the first Black person in the history of my university to be student government president, or what you would call SRC president in Ghana. And I remember very well, I was actually going to the student commons area where they have games, and, I was just going to play table tennis or ping pong. So we're just playing, and I see people dressed up. And I said, hey, what's going on? They said, oh, we're interviewing for class president. Guess what I did? I ran to my room, went and wore my dress, and showed up. And I was the last person they interviewed. They said, wait, did you apply? I said, no, I didn't apply, but I'm here. See, people are always going to be interested in how you show up, not letting the status quo and all the formalities always block you. They did interview me. And guess what? The vice president of the Student Government Association at the time decided to take me to dinner. And he said, you know what? Because you didn't follow the entire protocol by applying, we didn't pick you, but you were the best candidate in the room. So here's what I want you to know. If you would just serve under those who are leading, one day you could be president. And truly, that's what happened. All right. Volunteer opportunities. Everything is not about money, guys. I know money is important. Don't get me wrong. But maybe there's some spaces, there's some pro bono things you can start doing. Don't be worried about, is it going to pay me? Is it not going to pay me? I need my money now. No. Money is a byproduct of doing amazing and excellent work. Money will find you if you become indispensable. Right? So focus on adding value to you, not just looking for money. All right, number 3, learning communities and platforms. LinkedIn Learning, company learning management system. Many of us work in organizations that have learning management systems. We've never even had the time to check it out. Local libraries, Lunch and Learns, college. The potential of every app, focus on what's said. Take note of what isn't. This is why when you step into new spaces and new rooms, your job is not to try to prove what you know. Your job is to learn. All right. And the second one, which I live by more often than anything else, a ship is safe at a harbor, but that's not what ships are made for. I want you to think about that for a second. A ship is safe at a harbor, but that's not what ships are made for. See, you can keep a ship at a harbor, but its value is going to stay stuck over there. It doesn't have what it takes to make things happen. Okay? But if you are able to create something different, if you're able to step into some uncharted territories, embrace uncertainty, be able to separate yourself, ask yourself the hard questions, ask yourself what you need to do differently, about the situation and not just accept the situation for what it is. I guarantee you that you're going to have some amazing success. All right, with that, I want to thank each and every one of you for your time. And I'm going to turn over the time back to the organization unless anybody has a question. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. What a session, what a session, what a session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's have questions quickly. You can unmute yourself and ask a question. You could use the chat in call messages as well. Let's get questions before we move to the next session. Quickly, thank you, thank you. All right, okay. Right here. We're having some appreciation here. Thank you so much, Mr. Apoko. Thank you, sir. Okay, we can get some questions.
And if anybody doesn't have any questions, you can always reach out to me at the bridge_LR. Let me share my screen one more time real quick in case anybody wanted to reach out. You can reach out to me as well. This is the website. If you want to reach me on Instagram, it's the Bridge Together, BHEBRIDGE_LR. All right. So if you have any questions, if you don't have them now, you want to reach out later, you can do that as well.
Okay, yeah, thank you, thank you.
Oh, you said we have a question.
I can see your screen. I don't know if it's just me. I can see.
They said there's a question.
Okay, all right. Please unmute yourself. While he's asking the question, you could please share your screen again. I think you stopped
Sure,
sharing.
I can do.
Yeah. Don, please go ahead with the question.
For someone like me, I find a lot of things interesting. So I find myself doing a lot of things. Is it a good thing or it's a bad thing?
That's a great question. That is a great question. I'll tell you what, I would say the best answer to that is it depends on the stage or it depends on the phase in which you are at life. So not everybody just chances on what they want to do. Operations, but throughout that time, I wasn't just allowing things to happen. I needed feedback. So you can also write this down. Feedback is a great, great, great tool because now I'm asking different people who are leading me and peers. Can you tell me 3 that you would say are my strengths? Can you tell me 3 things that you think I would need to work on? Chances are, when you gather all of that information from different people, you would actually see a thread of something about you, right? Because the goal is to eventually hone in on what you're great at and be great at it. You don't have to be a lot of things to everybody. Just be great at that one thing. Just look at it. Look at all the great companies. They chose to be great at one thing. And they made that one thing. Yes, they may have a diversification of products, but it's one thing that resonates with who they are. That's what it's all about. Hope I answered your question. All right. Anyone else? All right, Dr. Favor, I think I'm going to turn over the time back to you then. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kofi, for the session. We deeply appreciate. We thank you for your time. Thank you for the value you've shared. Thank you so much. So I've shared your screen. I shared that picture on the group chat for all those who registered. So if you couldn't capture those his information, just check the YCC group chat and you will see the picture there right now. Thank you so much. You can stop sharing your screen now.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
All right, so we'll be handing over to Mr. Mubarak as he takes us further. Mr. Mubarak, you have the floor. Welcome back.
All right, thank you very much, Joshua. Thank you very, very much for covering that. I really appreciate it. It's actually been a long day, a really long day, and I'm sure it has been very, very, very impactful and a day well spent for me, right? And I'm sure it's the same for all other participants. And so we just have one session to go, and that's a session of Dr. Favor. Makes more sense to end a conference like this with the founder coming to speak to us on a topic that is actually very, very relatable to the theme of the conference. So Dr. Favor is to speak to us on failing forward, writing against all odds. Right. So Dr. Favor, I'm sure everybody knows Dr. Favor. Let's just give a short bio of Dr. Favor. So Dr. Favor is a Nigerian dentist and youth advocate, founded Gela that has impacted over 6,000 African youth. Hello, is anyone speaking?
Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. Dr. Favor is a Nigerian dentist and youth advocate, founded Gela, which has impacted over 6,000 African youth with job skills. He's a Forbes BIK member and Western Union scholar. He launched PGMP for global mentorship. He enjoys speaking, innovation, and tourism. Please welcome Dr. Favor, the founder of Gela and a 2020 US Consulate General awardee, and also the MCN 2019 fellow. Please welcome Dr. Favor. Come to speak to us on the topic, failing forwards, rising against all odds. Hello, Dr. Favor. Hello, Dr. Favor. Can you hear me, please?
He's on the call. I believe he'll be joining. He'll be speaking shortly, but he's on the call.
Okay.
Because some person are asking if you can get the recordings for today's section. Yeah, be sure that I can get the recordings. His sections are being recorded.
Okay,
And
sorry,
you
I won't be
definitely
able
get
to
them.
speak right
Okay,
now.
thank you.
I won't be able to join you right now to speak. Till about 10-15 minutes. Except you want to buy time with other things, so I won't be able to speak right now.
Okay. Okay, so no problem. The first going to join us in the next 10-15 minutes. I guess in that meantime, we can just, for those virtually present, we can just share our, you can just unmute and speak and just answer these few questions as this conference been able to meet your expectation, what stood out for you, and what will be your feedback for next conference. Please feel free to unmute and speak. Let me just go over it again. So I would appreciate if the virtual participants can unmute and speak and share with us what stood out for them in this conference, has it been able to meet your expectation, what feedback do you have ahead of next conference. Anyone? We want to see we are not enjoying the conference. This silence, I don't like the silence. Are we saying we
Okay,
don't
good
enjoy
evening,
this?
everyone.
Hi,
Good
good
evening,
evening.
everyone.
Good evening.
So I really want to thank Angela for putting this whole program together. It has really been a life changer for me. It's been powerful. So right from Friday, was it Friday? Yes,
Okay.
Dr. Favor was the one that took us. He talked about it talked a whole lot. It discussed so much. And what really stood out for me, he said, do not allow circles and mistake keep you in same sport. That really stood out for me. It talked about how our words, our life flow in the direction of our words. That words are powerful. And you have to be careful of what you say. That when you say, oh, I can't, you definitely can't. But when you keep speaking what you want to see, when you keep, oh, I have strength, I can do this, your life flows in that direction. And talk about your environment. That environment has a lot to do. Our environment have a lot to play in our lives. We must not allow negative environment influence us. And he also talked about resilience. That really, really stood out for me. He talked about resilience. It's not negotiable. You have to, if you believe in a thing, you have to stay there. You have to be strong enough to see it comes into reality. You don't have to give up suddenly. And he also said something. He said, do not say because you came from a poor background. He said, because you came from a poor background, that is not enough reason for your back to be on the floor. So it's actually been an amazing session for me, and I have really learned a lot. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm actually very glad that one was able to unmute and share their experience and how what stood out for them. So what will your feedback ahead of next conference?
I'll be anticipating the next conference because this was actually amazing. And also, Dr. Favor said something about relationship. Was it on Friday, right? It's either on Thursday. He said relationship is the cheapest way to succeed in life. That relationship is the cheapest way. And he talked about the 3 stages of relationship. He talked about you have skillful. We talked about the skillful men, the destiny helpers, and burden bearers, and he really explained all this in details. So I will be anticipating next conference because I have actually learned a lot in this conference, and I will be telling people about this particular one so they can anticipate next conference as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those positive comments about the conference. Really appreciate that. Anyone else? Anyone else? Uh, Rita, saying, okay. All right, so there was a crucial part of the schedule that we had to move forward due to time constraints, and we just want to just bring it back, and that's the delegate networking. So one of the beauty things of partaking in the conference is to network with people, connect with people, share contact information, and just get to know who is your co-participant. So we can also use this time to quickly do that. We tried that this morning, or I appreciate if you can do that now. What about the TP? Okay, so a blessing. For the debates, I'm just going to check with the team and confirm if uh there's still going to be time for that. Apologies that you guys were not able to um contribute to the conversation. So I'm back to the delegate and networking session. So for those joining physically, why not just check the person sitting beside you, by your right, by your left, in front of you or behind you, or just walk up to the person, say hello to the person, get to know the person name, his or workplace or course that the person is undergoing, and just get to know the person you're with in this conference. And for virtual participants, feel free to unmute. You can also use the chat box and speak to anyone, get to network with people as well. I'll be glad if at the end of this session, one can just say, "Oh, hi, Mubarak, and I've been able to meet um, um, Dempsey, Blessing, and Marvelous, and I've got to know about the work of this, the work of that, the school, schooling at the school, learning this course, and the amazing persons." So just something like that. I'll
I
be
don't know,
glad if
I
I
don't
can.
know if we can have somebody present physically just show us a video. Even if we can't get sound, let's see how those on ground physically are doing their network. I remember then
Oh,
I would take my pen and my barrel and be going from chair to chair. So if you can get that, that'll be good. Anybody on this call physically present, just turn on your camera and move around. Let's see what's going on.
all right, that'll be great. That'll be great. And not physically present, just on his our camera. Let's see how you're networking. Any volunteer? Hi, Blessing. Hi, George. Who have you been able to network with so far? Hi, Rita. Hi, Mustafa. Who have you been able to network with so far?
Okay, hi everyone. Are we still there?
Hi, yeah, we're here. Hello, Goffy, we can hear you. Okay, all right, we'll be moving quickly to the last session, and we have our speaker. And the session, like we mentioned, is one of the best way of ending this conference, and it's actually very great that we're having the founder come to speak to us at the concluding stage of this conference. So a reminder of the topic to discuss is failing forward, rising against all odds, to be facilitated by Dr. Favor. Over to you, Dr. Favor.
All right, so can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So sorry, it's not convenient for me to speak all this while because I actually sensed that that's how to deliver everything I wanted to deliver on Thursday. Okay, so I wasn't given permission for Saturday, but I had to make sure that Thursday was yeah, I had to do everything. The patients who participated on Thursday, they got everything. And unfortunately, not everybody did. Some persons only are joining today, so it's understandable. I'm going to be very brief, but just give me some minutes. Just give me some minutes.
Okay, so we just lost connection with Dr. Favor. I believe it's going to come on quickly. In the meantime, Blessing Oversee, I believe she's one of the members of one of the debate team. I don't know if you want to share a contribution now or sometime later. If you can hear me, Blessing.
I can actually.
All right. So that would be great if you can do that in like next 1-2 minutes. You can just share your points on the motion you're supporting and probably your counterpoint as well.
Good evening,
All
everyone.
right, you have the floor. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so
Okay, so can you guys hear me? I'm so sorry. So let's just
Yes,
up about
yes,
time,
we
like
can hear you.
10,
Yes, we can hear you, Dr.
in
Favor.
10,
Well,
15 minutes. In 10 minutes. Hello?
yes, we can hear you. We're about to quickly have one of the virtual participants share a contribution on the debate. But
Okay,
since
great,
you're not
great,
really ready,
great.
we just want to have that
Don't worry,
quickly.
don't
So,
worry. Don't worry, let's continue with what you are doing. Just go with what you're doing. What will happen is
all right.
this, for my own session, there's no problem. I'm always with you guys. So I'm glad that at least we're giving the opportunity for the guests to speak. So, and I also delivered on Thursday. So, what I can do is I can do a session, another special session for all participants as a makeup for this to conclude. So everybody who gonna be free, they can join that session. I have 2 days off, so I can pick it on that 2 days off, and I have all day, for that session. How about that? Is that fine?
Yeah, that should be fine. That should be fine.
Okay, better. But the good thing is, I'm happy that we have every other person participate. I mean, all the guests has spoken. Okay, so because I'm saying that because I want us to end the meeting shortly. Mr. Joshua has an appointment. team, the person in charge of this recording, and you can see has been out on ground all day. So we have to also consider some of us have to leave and join. So that's one of the reasons why I'm saying what I'm saying as well. Okay, so maybe after after she completes what she's saying, we can wrap up the session.
All right. All right. All right. Thank you. Over to you, Blessing.
Okay, once again, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, so the topic says getting a job versus entrepreneurship, the promising career for youths. So a good day, Mr. Moderator, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, my co-debaters, and of course, every other fellow listening. So I am standing on the motion which says that employability, entrepreneurship is far better than employability. Why employability keeps you in your comfort zone, entrepreneurship stretches you. It makes you think, it makes you wear your thinking cap, causing your brain to sweat. Because there is a saying that says when you make your brain to sweat, your brain will produce answer for you. So why employability will just keep you in your comfort zone, entrepreneurship will make you to sweat because you know there is no one to bail you out. So you have to be productive. And when you are productive, remember scripture said, for those of us that are Christian, it said, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. God is a creator and we are co-creators. So being an entrepreneur makes you like God. Being an entrepreneur makes you like God. It makes you think. And also entrepreneurship makes one take responsibility and become productive. Entrepreneurship is far better than employability because entrepreneurship makes one think, make one take responsibility and become productive. Because you know, if you aren't productive, you have staffs to pay, you have bills to pay, bills are piling up. You will not be in your comfort zone. You will be thinking of how things will work out. So it makes one productive because you already know that no one will come for your aid and your bills will be piling up if you aren't productive. Also, entrepreneurship makes one result-oriented. Entrepreneurship makes one result-oriented. Why employability will just keep in your comfort zone because you know at the end of the day, you will be paid. And also, salary is what they pay you, so you forget about your future, so you forget about your dreams, so you forget about your why, the reasons for your existence, why it keeps you, like I said previously, it keeps you in your comfort zone. Entrepreneurship make one oriented, using excuses and obstacles as stepping stones. And lastly, my last point says entrepreneurship will bring out the best in you. Entrepreneurship will bring out the best in you. Like I said yesterday, I said a good man leaveth inheritance for his children. As an employer, a time will come, you will be laid off. It's like you are laid off or you retire. And trust me, with the hike of things, with the way the economy is going, your retirement benefits will not be able to sustain you. But when you keep growing with your company, you keep growing, nobody dictates your salary as you are productive, your income rises as well. And also you have inheritance to leave for your children. Before your children finishes school, you've already groomed them in the line, or you already inculcated the ability to thrive wherever they find themselves, which is the entrepreneurial spirit in them, making them co-creators as well. With this viewpoint of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that entrepreneurship is far, far better than employability. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Blessing. When you say employability, entrepreneurship is far better than employability. I start to disagree. I'm just joking, actually. But the way you are saying this, I felt attacked. But it's fine. Great points, great points.
Please give
The
the
fact that you
opportunity
said,
to the other people to also air their view, because people on the other hand, they have their own things to talk.
okay, any participants on the other hand of the team who is against this motion, who is for employability, please come and represent me well. Anyone? Anyone? nobody want to come and counter Blessing. Hey, what I counter Blessing myself like this? Okay. All right. So since there's no one, Blessing, thank you very much. One point that stood out for me, and it got me cracked up was you saying you for entrepreneurs you are stretched. It gives you a opportunity to be stretched beyond your comfort zone, and this is where you have to use challenges and obstacles as stepping stone. Those were resounding for me. But I not still agree with your point too. I not agree. I'm forever going to support a player every day over entrepreneurship. But right, so everyone has their right to choose any of it. Right, there's no right or wrong answer. Each one has its advantage and also has its disadvantage. So entrepreneurship has its advantage, liability also has its advantage. Same way they also have their disadvantage. So thank you very much. Nice contribution. Blessing. And the fact that I said utilizing challenges and obstacles as stepping stone. Well, there are also challenges at the workplace. The challenge to especially for females who are married and they have to meet with their targets at work and also fulfill their social obligation as a wife. So it's always a lot. It's always a lot. And yeah, like I said, there's no right or wrong answer, and each side has its advantage and disadvantage. So since I think we can wrap up for now. It has been a long day and a long day for those physically present and also for us virtually present here. It's been a long day and I'm sure it has been an awesome ride since Thursday. YCC conference has been a good one and we look forward to another one coming up next year. Thank you very much to the participants who committed funds to joining this conference. I am sure you guys find it worthwhile, and for the brains behind this conference who made it possible to be successful. I appreciate you guys. I think there is an announcement. Dr. Fever, you can go ahead with the announcement.
Okay, so the quick announcement is this. First of all, we say thank you to everybody who participated in the conference, ranging from the partners to the students. I don't know if the students are still currently at the training, but you can see that a lot of you came quickly. So the vote of thanks will say thank you for the action and steps that you took for the program. We really value it. So really value it a lot. And definitely engage you for some other time. So, and then secondly, and part of the announcement, there are winners for some of the things that were done in the conference. We will announce them on the group chat. First of all, we've announced some of them and the awards that were given to them also be announced. We make sure we do those things today, before the end of today, so that we are sure of everything. So that being said, we also have an announcement to announce that the prestigious Global Mentorship Program application usually gets open the same day that the YCC ends. So if YCC is ending today, it means that the PGMP application will be opening this month before the month ends. So we won't say it's opening today because the link is not actually ready available now. It's usually going to open in the same month, November. So you can start applying for the next course of the mentorship program. And for the debate as well, the assessment that was done will be done differently because we have people who did participate virtually and those that participated physically. So we have to give the recognition of the award that we have for them separately using different standards. Okay, so that will be done. Thanks everyone for joining, and God bless you all.
All right. So for those who are unable to capture what Dr. Fever said due to this background noise, just as some so first an appreciation to all of those who registered and joined this conference. And you also mentioned that the PGMP application should be up before month's end, and so we can share with our friends and families to register for the next cohort. And you also mentioned about winners. So there are going to be winners for some of the activities, and they'll be announced in the group. And also there will be a makeup session, like I promised. There'll be a makeup session just to give it back close up. So this conference, and that will also be announced in the group. Same for the debate. So the essence of the debate will be done, and it will be done differently because we had those who participated in the debate physically, and we also had some who participated in the debate virtually. So there's no done separately. Winners will be announced as well. So thank you very, very much for joining the brains behind this successful edition of this conference. Thank you very much. To the participant, thank you very much as well. And to all of our speakers, thank you very much for making this a success. I think we can wrap up by now and say good night, everyone. It's worth it. It's a great way to end YTC for 2024. All right. See you next year and see some of our other events. Just to add, we usually have our month-end webinar where we invite speakers to come speak to us on so many career development topics and personal development topics. So you can just keep up with all of the notifications on our chat. Thank you very, very much, and do enjoy the rest of your day.